Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So I was hoping that it would actually break 2,500 subscribers by the time this Q&A response video came out, and you guys absolutely smashed my expectations, okay? You guys blew it out of the water because I think I'm above 3,000 subscribers now, so sorry for sounding like a broken record, but I just gotta once again give a big thank you to everyone who has supported me, whether or not you're just like, I don't know, the 500 or 600 people that have just joined the channel, or you're a long-time viewer. Thank you very much. Where would I be without you guys, right? And let me just give a big shout out to Micah. So he attended some of my talks back when I hosted the Fire Club in person at university. So it was like him and like 3 other people that attended my Fire Club meetings. So now I'm at like 3,000 subscribers. Now I'm talking to 3,000 of you, which is absolutely amazing. So once again, thank you very much. So anyways, let's go ahead and answer some questions today. Okay, so first of all, I got a lot of requests from people asking me to talk about certain stocks, and I figured that this video is not really suited to talk about a whole new stock that I've never talked about before on this channel, because this is meant to be like a Q&A response video, right? So I'm not going to be sharing any opinions on individual stocks in this video unless it's a stock that I already talked about before on this channel, just because I do want to dedicate entire videos to talking about brand new stocks. As my grade 6 teacher once said, if you're going to do something, do it right. Otherwise, don't do it at all. Okay, so with that being said though, please do keep the suggestions coming down in the comments if there's a stock you want me to cover. Anyways, the first question of today comes from Gala, who asks, hey Andy, did you go to UBC? And I can see that someone named Peter responded down below, and as Peter noted correctly, I did not go to UBC. I went to the University of Waterloo, where I studied math and business. And to be honest, it was kind of a tough time for me at university, at Waterloo actually, so I actually wanted to study business, just, you know, like business by itself, not business and math mixed together, but I didn't get into my first choice of university, which was Queen's University, and I wanted to go to commerce at Queen's, but I didn't get in because I got rejected. So Waterloo does this weird thing though, where they don't have a business department or business faculty. So what they do is they actually put finance and business under math. So I was like, hey, I was okay-ish at math back in high school, right? So I'm just gonna do math in university, and I quickly found out that I was one of those Asians who aren't good at math. And furthermore, Waterloo's kind of known for having sort of a militaristic approach to academics. I don't know if I'm describing that right or if that's completely the perfect analogy, but you know, I'm talking about people getting into fights over library seats, right? So there was this one time where the cops were actually called in because this one guy, he put his backpack on the seat beside him to reserve a seat for his friend at the school library, and then his friend never showed up. So then someone else showed up and they're like, can I have this seat? And the first person's like, no, you can't, because I'm waiting for my friend. And then the second person's like, well, your friend is not here, so I should have the seat. And then they got into a fist fight, and then the cops showed up. So yeah, that's kind of the school that Waterloo is. And I know it sounds like I'm bashing Waterloo, but I'm really not. It's a really great school. It truly is. Otherwise, people wouldn't be lining up to get in, right? And if there's one thing to take away, it taught me that in order for you to do something properly, you really do need to dedicate a lot of time and effort if you really want to succeed. Because, you know, for all my courses, they were really hard. Well, not all of them, but all my like math courses, most of them, they were extremely hard. So I had to dedicate a lot of time and effort in order to just pass them, never mind do well, right? So it taught me that in order for you to succeed or try to succeed or even have a probability of succeeding, you really do need to put in a lot of time and effort into doing something. And that, in my opinion, is a very valuable lesson. Anyways, moving on. Next question comes from Ziazi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's kind of long, so I'm just going to paraphrase his question. And he's basically asking if I'm going to stop being a waste man and move out of my parents' place. So honestly, this is one thing that I've always wanted to do, which is own my own place one day. You know, not to like knock against my parents. Obviously, I love my parents, but I do like to one day be able to own my own place one day, of course. So the problem is, guys, that real estate is just really going berserkers right now here in Ontario, right? I don't know how it is in other places, but I know that like Vancouver is traditionally really expensive for real estate as well. So for those of you who are living on the west coast in Canada, it's probably not that much better, but like here in southern Ontario around the Toronto region, it's going absolutely crazy, right? So for those of you who are living in America too, you can attest to whether or not the real estate market is booming in your place, but I bet it is right now, right? Because of low interest rates. So I assume that most of Canada is like experiencing relatively similar situations where real estate prices are just like shooting straight up. So I don't remember which video it is exactly that I talked about considering buying a rental property. So this was back in like July or August. So I was talking to my realtor about potentially finding a house in the Barrie area, which is near where I live right now. And holy smokes, guys, a 1,200 square foot house in Barrie right now could easily go for 500K, right? So Canadian dollars, by the way, but still like 500K Canadian dollars. And my realtor told me that typically in normal times, a house in Barrie around that size, around, maybe a little bit lower price, obviously, right? In normal times, a house like that would sit on the market for about a month and then it gets sold. Now it's 3 days. Just think about it, guys. It literally takes 3 days for you to sell your house right now. And you can probably get above asking too. So, I heard about this situation and I was like, okay, I'm out. Like, good game. GG, no re for me, okay? So, I've had to delay home ownership for a while, it looks like. And also, I think it's safe to say that I'm not the only one who's struggling to be able to afford a house right now. Especially, I'm 24 years old, right? Especially as like an early 20-something years old person, it's like really difficult to be able to buy a house right now. So, be sure to give this video a like and comment down below if you also cannot afford a 1,200 square foot house in Barrie. So, anyways. Next question comes from Abdullah, who asks, what's your best advice for someone who is starting with a small amount of capital who just started in investing in stocks? And my answer to this question might actually surprise you. So I'm not going to give a cop-out answer to this question like certain other YouTubers. And the cop-out answer, by the way, if you guys are asking, is just, put it all in an index fund and diversify and play it safe, right? So the reason why you don't necessarily want to do that is because if you only have a small amount of money, the goal is to get growth, right? So save the index funds for wealth preservation when you have like $1 million in the bag already. So let's say if you only have $1,000, right? You're not going to get that far with 8% growth per year, right? So you're going to get $80 per year with an index fund if we're extrapolating to the average, right? So it's not really worth it. So my answer to this question is take an aggressive but controlled risk. Okay, what do I mean by that, right? Well, what I would suggest is that you pick one stock that you know extremely well. Start doing a ton of research and pick one stock that you understand the most out of everything and that you think that has the most potential out of everything after you do your research. And I'm talking about doing like real research, not just like watching YouTube videos, not just watching me, as good as my YouTube channel and my YouTube videos are, I think that if you just watch me, it's probably not even enough to make a decision like this, right? So, do a ton of research. You can watch YouTube videos, but don't let one person or one channel be your only source of information. Take like different opinions and of course just look into it yourself. And then once you understand the company and you really like the company, just go like all in that one company with your small amount of money, right? And I know you're like, okay, that sounds extremely risky. Well, actually how risky it is, once again, depends on how much work you actually put into researching it and the quality of research that you're putting through, right? So if you're actually putting in a ton of effort, and I mean real effort, into doing your due diligence and picking that one stock out of the entire stock market, if it turns out to be a dud, you're either really bad at research or you got extremely unlucky, which is a low probability event by definition. You get what I mean, right? It's aggressive and you're definitely doing something that your financial advisor who's trying to sell you a mutual fund would definitely highly recommend against you doing. But you don't have to take a stupid amount of risk either, right? You can control it by properly vetting the company when you buy in. Anyways, hopefully that answers your question. Now, next question comes from a super creative name who asks, Hi Andy, how do you choose a stock you want to buy? And also, how do you choose the right time to buy into them? And I think that this is a very interesting question. Basically, when I pick stocks, I have a giant watch list of stocks, right? I have like over 100 stocks I'm watching at any given time. So what I do is I narrow down to stocks I actually would be interested in picking up. So I take that giant list and I narrow it down to a smaller list by process of elimination. So let me explain how that works, right? So first, there are stocks that I'm just kind of watching just because I'm curious, but there are stocks that I would not purchase regardless of the price, right? So the first example of a stock like this would be, for example, Nikola stocks. So I've talked about Nikola in the past, so if you haven't watched my videos on Nikola, please go watch them. But just to briefly summarize, this is a company who has been caught doing really shady things and lying to the public repeatedly, okay? So the now former chairman Trevor Milton basically fled the company after being accused of multiple fraud and sexual assault allegations. And honestly, it boggles my mind to how the stock is still trading at like around $20 per share or whatever, right? So this is a stock that I would not consider regardless of the price, right? So even if it was like 2 cents per share, I would not buy it. If someone gave it to me for free, I would sell it immediately, right? Okay, so you eliminate those stocks and you move on, right? Okay, next category are stocks that I think that could have potential, but unfortunately, I just don't understand them enough to really feel comfortable investing in them. So an example of this would be pharmaceuticals. So I'm not a doctor, so I have trouble wrapping my head around some of these terms and some of this like technology that goes into like drug manufacturing and treatments and whatnot. And that has probably left me with missing some great opportunities in the past. But at the same time, as a general rule of thumb, I think it's good to stay close to things that you know best. So yeah, once again, as I just said, I just feel like I just don't understand these companies enough to take up a large position in these companies. Who knows, I might dabble in some in the future, but I don't see it making like a pharmaceutical company. I don't see me making a pharmaceutical company to be a core position in my portfolio in the future. But that's just me though. Maybe you're a medical professional or maybe you're a doctor and you actually understand these things, then that doesn't apply to you, right? So maybe pharmaceutical is your strong suit. So yeah, in general, you just kind of want to find categories of desirable features you want in a company and you narrow down the list, right? And it helps to stick with things that you know. And as to specifically when to buy into a stock, well, if you've done enough research and you understand the company enough, you'll naturally understand if a company is overvalued or undervalued. So I always say that everyone knows the price of something better than everyone else. And what I mean by that is, for example, for me, if one of my friends said, oh, I saw this laptop at Best Buy with these parts for this price. Can you tell me if this is a good deal or not? I can probably answer that question pretty well, right? Because I know like generally how much computer parts should go for and how much like a certain spec of laptop should go for. But I might not be so familiar with the price of other things like, I don't know, cosmetics, right? So for example, if someone asked me to buy a stick of lipstick and I went to the store, and let's say if you were the store clerk, I could ask you, hey, how much does this stick of lipstick cost? And then you could say, oh, it costs $20. And I'd be like, that sounds about right. Or you can say to me, this costs $200. And I'd be like, this sounds about right, right? Like, you get what I mean, right? I have no idea. And for my 5 female subscribers, please don't unsubscribe. That was just an example, okay? So I'm just saying that, you know, everyone knows the price of something very well, or the price of like a category of things very well. So you just have to train yourself to view stocks in the same way. So when Black Friday comes, which Black Friday has just passed us, right? So when Black Friday comes and things go on sale, you can go ahead and buy things that you think are worth it, right? So stocks, they don't have a set date that they go on sale, but they do go on sale from time to time, and all you have to do is buy them when they go on sale. So just remember what we're trying to do here. We're trying to buy undervalued assets at discounted prices, whether it be stocks, computers, or lipstick. So anyways, last question. Last question comes from Peacekeeper, who asks, Andy, do you have any advice for someone who feels stuck at the moment? I'm in my 3rd year of university and I have no idea what to do with my life. And I'm not going to claim that I have the solution to everything, because obviously this is something that I've struggled with myself personally as well in the past, as in the feeling of being stuck. And the first thing I have to say is that you got to recognize that this is completely natural and happens to absolutely everyone. So pretty much everyone I talk to, they've said that there was a moment in their life that they felt stuck on, right? So anyone who tells you that they've never been stuck in their entire life and everything is just great in their entire life, they're either really, really sheltered or they're lying to you, right? Chances are they're lying to you. So just recognize that once again, this happens to everyone and it's completely natural. And as to suggestions on how to move on, I actually saw a video made by Jeremy from Financial Education who made some great points, which I'll summarize right here and steal some points from him right now. But I'm also obviously going to add some of my own opinions to it, right? So basically what Jeremy is saying that, in life you got to recognize there's a difference between your real job and your fake job. So your real job is what you're doing that provides you with the greatest amount of value and provides society as well with the greatest amount of value. So your fake job is something that you're just doing so that you can get by, so that you can pay your bills. So for example, if you're an artist, let's say, right, and your passion is making art or music, but you're not famous enough to really live off of selling your art just yet. Let's say you make very little or no money from your art. Right now, right? So you might have to work at McDonald's full time to kind of just pay the bills and get by. In that case, your real job is doing art and your fake job is working at McDonald's. So let's say you're spending 40 hours a week at McDonald's because, well, you have to. And let's say you're spending another 20 hours a week on your art. Well, in that case, notice how even though you're not making any money from your art at the moment or making very little and spending less time per week on it compared to McDonald's, that doesn't really change the fact that doing art is what you want to do. So in my opinion, getting unstuck in life is all about just finding a way to transition from doing your fake job more to doing your real job more. So if you're working like two things at the same time, recognize which one is your fake job, which one is your real job, and try to transition from doing your fake job to your real job. So if you're feeling stuck, it's probably you're spending too much time at your fake job and not enough time at your real job. And if you don't know what your real job is, if you're not even sure what your real job is, well, you got to figure that out first, right? So a fake job could be studying in a program in university that you don't really want in order to get a job that you don't really want. So I saw this a lot actually back when I was in Waterloo. People are like, ugh, I hate accounting. Accounting is the worst and I hate the course and accounting is so boring. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing that you're studying to be an accountant, right? I can't make this stuff up, honestly, guys. So bottom line is, if you're feeling stuck, I would suggest a way for you to find a side project and work on something that really brings you joy in life and something that you're really passionate about, even if it doesn't make any money, right? So you don't have to spend a lot of time on it either. Just work on something that has the potential to maybe become a business or a job in the future. So I'm not talking about binge watching Netflix, obviously, right? Because if you watch Netflix, that will probably bring you joy, but that's not really like productive. So I'm talking about something that could potentially bring value to you and to the world. So if you just dedicate 2 hours per day on it, whether it be, painting, making music, or just, I don't know, basket weaving or something like that, whatever you're into, like if you just worked on something productive that's not related to your day job or not related to your fake job for 2 hours per day, every day for 5 years. Just do that. Just spend 2 hours every day for 5 years. I'd honestly be surprised if you didn't get anywhere, right? Just if you just think about the amount of time you're dedicating to it, eventually you'll find a way to make things work. Anyways, so yeah, that's my suggestion. Just find a way to transition from doing your fake job to doing your real job. And if you don't know what your real job is, figure it out. So anyways, this video is getting super long, so I'm gonna end it here. Thanks for joining me on this Q&A, and sorry if I didn't answer your question. We'll have another Q&A soon because I think we might have another one at like 5,000 subscribers, which is gonna be very soon because once again, as I said, I just broke 3,000, right? So thank you all once again. Where would I be without you, right? So anyways, be sure to give this video a like if you haven't already, and consider subscribing if you're new on the channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!